Are you happy in your business? Now, I have had my share of emotional ups and downs in my 20 years of being a solo entrepreneur coach. And the patterns I've seen in myself and in my clients is that those downs are usually when I was personally feeling unfulfilled. Sometimes it was because a launch that flopped, and sometimes it was just life and had nothing to do with business. But those ups, oh boy, those are the times when I was feeling my most authentic and completely aligned to my purpose, or when I just felt like I was rocking that work-life balance. I would be thinking I could do this all day long and never feel tired. One of my loves is sharing what works for me and what has been working for my clients to achieve this very feeling, full of passion, happiness, peace, and freedom. So I decided to create a private podcast for coaches. Maybe you just want to develop better communication skills that boosts engagement, leads to better results, and makes you feel like you're actually making a difference in the lives of the people you serve. Then you're invited too. We talk about this and more in the UBU private podcast for coaches. Whether you're a mentor, a parent, or run a client-focused business, coaching skills benefit everyone and anyone who wants to communicate in a way that builds relationships. Fall in love with your life and business again. Click the link in the show notes for your invitation to join us right now. Then come back and enjoy this episode. So, hey, difference maker, I am coming to you from my bedroom because I was too lazy to set up my office today. And instead of sitting on my floor in the closet, I decided to just sit on the floor with my chair in the background. It's a little prettier background, I guess, than my clothes. But today I wanted to tell you a story about my trip to Costco with my son, and what it made me realize about why I like using human design with the Enneagram so much. So if you are an Enneagram fan and a human design fan, and heck, a Costco fan too, stick around and find out what all of these have in common. It's time to stop comparing yourself to others and plug in to what is uniquely you. Welcome to Unbox Your Personality, the podcast for coaches, creatives, and educators like you who understand that your happiness makes you more effective in what you do, bringing out the best in others. I'm Jen P. Higgins, personality strategist and Enneagram fluff remover. Get laser focused on who you are and who you aren't, so you're free to make the impact you were born to make. And have fun doing it. Your personality is your business, so let's get down to business. So my younger son, he's a senior in high school and he's going to college next year. Sad. It's a true empty nest situation going on over here. But he needed a laptop for his degree for next year. And it's kind of a graduation gift, so we decided to go to Costco and purchase a laptop. Well, you can't go to Costco and just buy one thing, right? And I did have stuff on our grocery list. I'm not normally the grocery shopper. I'm very fortunate in that. My husband knows that if he sends me to go get groceries, we will get more than what's on the list. He is great at sticking to lists. So I grab a few items. We get the laptop. It was actually a very quick trip. But if you've ever gone to Costco, you know the line situation. The lines are long. At Christmas, it's crazy, but it's not Christmas time. But it's because the carts are so ginormous and people just load those things up. And then they're so big, it makes you feel like the line is really, really long. They're kind of hard to move and just everything feels slow going. But surely but steady, you're going to get to the checkout if you stay in line. So here we are standing in line with just a little receipt, a claim ticket for his laptop, and a bag of tilapia and a loaf of bread. So I had 3 items standing in a line with all these ginormous carts that were waiting to get checked out. It was going to take a while. But then a lady taps me on the shoulder and she goes, "I can get you over here." And I'm like, yay, thank goodness. And this really made me think about human design and what it means to have defined centers versus open centers. So if you have gone to go check out your human design, I've got a great guide to help you do that. Just click the link in the show notes. But once you get your body graph, you'll notice that some of the energy centers on your body graph are colored in and some of them are not. And what I'm finding is my clients are immediately going, "Oh, this is totally me. This is so me." And they kind of dismiss the open centers. But really, the open centers are the ones that we ought to focus on. So if you have a center on your body graph that is colored in, that means it is a defined center. That means the energy that flows through that center is pretty reliable. It's pretty fixed. The energy that flows through the channels and the gates of that center that you can pretty much bank on, it's going to serve you in a very consistent manner. But just like those lines at Costco, I could stay in a line and I know that eventually I'm going to check out, right? But that flow of energy can be pretty slow at times. And sometimes when we are working out of alignment, maybe we're jumping lines or jumping channels and end up getting in a slower channel and like, "Oh my gosh, I should have just stayed in that other line." Have you ever done that? Especially at Christmas time when you're like, "Oh, which line should I go in?" But when you're standing in line, you know it just doesn't depend on how many items the person has in their cart in front of you, because maybe they have a few items, but one requires a lot more customer service. Or maybe you get in a line with people who have fewer items, but the cashier is slower. There's different factors that go into how fast the line flow is at Costco. And the same thing is for your human design. There's different factors that go into how fast or slow the energy flows through your defined centers. And guess what helps us recognize that? Our Enneagram type. You know that we have certain Enneagram types that are slow-paced and certain Enneagrams that are fast-paced. And then we have those Enneagram types that are compliant-paced. That sometimes they're fast and sometimes they're slow. It just depends on who they are with at the time. They tend to be like chameleons. But the point I really want to drive home today are your open centers. And you can lump in open channels and open gates in that category too, because these are the ones that we tend to ignore because we're like, "Oh, those aren't us. That's not me." But these are the areas of your human design that need protection because they are the most vulnerable to outside conditioning. So if we're going with our Costco analogy here, I kind of see it like that lady tapping me on my shoulder. She's like, "Hey, come to this checkout. It's open." And I'm like, "Oh, that's going to make the energy flow a lot faster if I go to an open lane, right? And an open lane that doesn't have a long line that I have to wait in." And look at it from the point of view of Costco as far as their efficiency goes. The more lines they have going at the same time, the faster they can check people out. So here are the things I want you to pay attention to. First, you really need to look at the open centers of your human design. By open, I mean there is no color, the channel is white, the gate is white, or the center is white on your body graph. These are the areas of your human design personality that need more robust systems that are going to be as reliable as your defined centers. And secondly, look at your Enneagram type's pay style. Actually, look at all of the 9 acknowledgement languages, and it will really help you build a system that's going to be more realistic for your personality. because we're all about working with your personality and not against it. The more robust and reliable systems that you can establish that work with your personality, the more energy flow you're going to have. Just like those people flying through the lines at the checkout and not having to wait in one long line, there are more lanes that are open for that energy to flow through. That's going to make you feel more productive. It's going to help you get to your goal faster. And when you're working with your personality, you're going to feel a whole lot more authentic and have just the freedom and the peace to be yourself. There's nothing like that feeling. Don't forget to check out my guide, Integrating Your Enneagram and Human Design. It's a guide for leading a life and business with purpose. I have loved being able to use both of these tools, helping my clients and you unbox your personality, because when you can unbox yourself, you can unleash your power.
Thank you for listening, subscribing, and reviewing the Unbox Your Personality podcast. To learn more about yourself, go to powercoachjen.com. Find out how you are different so you can make your difference.